Recently, I played a demo of an upcoming FNaF fan game that made me pretty nervous, and I highly recommend it. Ever since the 10th anniversary of FNaF, I have been noticing a lot more fan games in development that have a lot of promise and potential in them, and there might even be a couple finished as I'm writing this video. Like Graveyard Shift at Freddy's, Wallace's Cheesy Curse, Some Nights at Rick's. The point is, there are a ton of FNaF fan games coming down the pipeline, and I'm happy that they're getting a lot of attention. But one specific fan game we are discussing today is the demo of the Return to Freddy's Rad SLA remake. Rad SLA Remake is a fan-made revival of the cancelled Return to Freddy's Rad SLA, which was supposed to be an installment of the infamous Return to Freddy series, which is probably the most controversial FNaF fan game series ever made. All thanks to its complete idiot of a developer, Tyler Aelstrom, who's been proven to be a liar, and I would not mow his lawn. Listen, jokes aside, I do not condone any of his behavior, and I won't get into details about this developer here. I'll save that talk for like the series 10th anniversary or Windows XP edition or some shit. But for now, let's talk about something that's not crafted from Ginger Aelstrom. Of course, this is just my opinion. Please don't take anything I say in regards to this game's low points as fact, okay? As of now, this is just a demo. On October 15th, 2022, the demo of the Rad SLA remake was released onto GameJolt and was created by the user Wolfo Pudaneska. I am so sorry if I butchered that name. Who is a part of the small development group Distant Melody Games. You play as a dude named Lloyd, spelled like this, whose main objective is to guard and observe the Gilbert Facility Hospital after a certain incident to help the Save the Kids project by using specific tools to survive against the facility's quote-unquote projects from getting loose. Also, this game takes place in Japan. This is, in fact, probably the most interesting piece of the Return to Freddy's story to me, mainly because of its location. But man, do things get dumb when the original story mentions an element called quote-unquote super cancer that is thankfully renamed in this fan game. I feel like I should also quickly mention that the original Return to Freddy's story, aka The Dreadful Truth, is a complete avalanche of the English language that I'll probably skip talking about for now, like with the lore in my Pop Goes Evergreen analysis video. Anyway, the game starts you outside of the hospital, with your employer Chai Tun calling you throughout the nights. After you enter the building, you make your way to your quote-unquote office in a small sister location point-and-click style. Personally, I feel this section is a bit too short for my taste, but at the end of the day, it's just a demo. When you enter your quote-unquote office, you are then told that you aren't in an office at all. What? You are in fact inside an elevator with one of your main mechanics involving you to keep traveling across 3 floors of this hospital and checking cameras on the respective floor. Before we get our knees deep into the mechanics, let's talk about the visuals and audio. First, let's address the elephant in the room, at least to me. It's not a hospital. Maybe I'm just exaggerating or having deja vu from playing too many fan games with checkerboard patterns, but to me it feels a bit too out of place, especially when you're trying to have a huge emphasis on the words decrepit and hospital, unless you're trying to give me checkerboard vision. With that being said though, I do like the direction that the aesthetic is going for. I kinda get a sense of a nostalgic feeling of old FNaF fan games, not to mention the original Rad SLA on some level. This is what it looks like, by the way. Now when it comes to the game's ambience, it is a very smooth-like jazz tune playing in the distance.
You like jazz?
I honestly think it's cool and pretty refreshing from the typical spooky tone of other fan games, and it also adds to this game's aesthetic.
I don't know if the jazz tracks were made specifically for the game or were from somewhere else, but someone has uploaded them on the YouTubes. I highly recommend giving this a listen. Please? Pretty please? Pretty please with a cherry on top? In the name of Frank Sinatra. So far, the main enemies introduced are 3 animatronics who are possessed by 3 test subjects of the Save the Kids project, according to the story. Something about transferring souls into mechanical bodies? Don't ask me to answer this game theory as to why these guys are in a f***ing hospital. Have Doc Brown explain it for you. The characters are Ty the red panda, Sally the other panda, and Collie the koala. They all usually start on floor 1, but can also start from another floor on a later night. Only 2 characters are active in this demo, being Sally and Collie. They both make their own ways to attack the player, whether that being on the same floor as you, or on different floors. And if one of them comes to your elevator door, you shut it and wait for a light thud sound effect that implies one of them left. You also cannot travel floors while the door is closed, so if you really wanted to, you could reenact that scene from Final Destination 3. Now, despite all of this sounding extremely simple, I do think this combination of mechanics make for a slow yet near unsettling gameplay loop once you reach Night 3, where not traveling in the elevator could result in death. There's been a couple of times where the characters will kind of blend into the environment, almost making you want to switch floors and check again. Speaking of the elevator, you can also click outside of it, only on floors 2 and 3 to get out, and I would assume mess with some equipment. Maybe. Like this radio box can not do anything. This mechanic sounds neat on paper for a small bit of free roam, but considering this doesn't give the player any help from my perspective, I don't see the entire point of this being here for the demo if it's not going to do something. It's possible I could be missing something here, so feel free to correct me on that. You also have a gas mask that is used to increase the levels of asthma, but not toxicity. Dipshit. The mask is kinda useless in the demo as of now, although you could try to use it against animatronics. Good luck with that. And that's it. I think Rad SLA Remake has a lot of potential thanks to its interesting change of location and interesting mechanic ideas. If I missed any details, feel free to let me know. I'm excited for the Rad SLA Remake, and if you can get past the Return to Freddy's past and original developer, I think we can have a new, fresh Return to Freddy's experience with a rewritten story and without anyone mischievous. I mean, the only mischievous thing I've ever done was try to sell frozen salads on the black market to pay off a loan shark, and that's why I'm missing my legs. You think I might need a hospital?